What is up, guys? It's Toast. I got some more Apex Legends news I wanted to share with you and kind of talk about the future of the game itself, given the changes that have happened prior to the launch of Season 2, which is actually happening July 2nd. So, first of all, I'm going to be talking about the elephant in the room. Well, actually, it's the Leviathan in the room. It's the movement of those gigantic dinosaur-looking monsters in the distance. And apparently they were not just for good looks in the game. On Instagram, Apex Legends shared a little post or a video of a new message. And, now that I'm looking at it, there's also a mention of Rosie, and I'm not sure if that's the dinosaur or another chain. But we'll talk about that a little later. As you can see on the screen, it just says L001, referring to, I believe, Leviathan 1. Sorry, is moving southbound at a rate of 10 clicks per hour after a 16-hour rest interval. This is yet another significant rest time reduction. We suspect L001 is exhibiting signs of territorial behavior or distress. We will continue gathering data and attempt to determine the cause. Actually, just from rereading it now, I really don't think Rosie is L001. I think L001 is L001, and Rosie is actually somebody else. So that's really cool. I didn't really notice that before. So the Leviathans, there's two of them, have moved. I'm not really sure on the clear trajectory of both of the Leviathans, but I can almost be certain that there will be one that comes directly towards airbase, and perhaps the one that is behind it is going to be, coming up a little bit towards water treatment and repulsor area. Now, as the message sort of hints, there's probably going to be some changes to the map from these Leviathans. And, this is pretty much typical we've seen before in Battle Royales in the genre. And it's really just referring to Fortnite and Call of Duty Blackout, I suppose. But in both games, they have had map-altering events occur to keep the map freshened and to really just change up the play style within the current map. It's a creative way of causing change without just changing it, and not having an explanation. So these Leviathans, I can assume, are going to alter the map. Perhaps the one that comes in by airbase is going to damage airbase. Maybe it's really gonna just walk up onto airbase and things fall apart, and maybe it smashes through a mountain. Who knows? But the map will change. And furthermore, there's been speculation that these Leviathans will actually affect in-game play past just changes to the map. So I'm super excited to see how they work out within the meta. How is gameplay going to be with two gigantic dinosaur-looking things called Leviathans causing havoc? So that's super exciting. It's also, a good time to note that gigantic skull and spine that you see in Skull Town is a Leviathan. Again, actually, I really don't know if it is or not, because there's no 100% yes, this is a Leviathan that was killed or whatever, but it's safe to assume that is what that beast is. It's probably not just some other random creature that is the size of a Leviathan. I'm definitely not going to edit out these mistakes I'm having pronouncing Leviathan, because it's fucking awesome. So anyway, that is going to be the changes that we will see in Season 2 to the map. It's going to be because of these Leviathans. Okay, so stepping back a little bit from speculation here, wanted to just share my thoughts on the Elite Queue that launched a couple weeks ago, alongside the Legendary Hunt. First let me talk about the Legendary Hunt. It was super cool. It's definitely mimics some of the aspects that you would find in Fortnite within weekly challenges. And I do want to note that they need to be weekly challenges. None of this like 14-day bullshit. I'm sorry, but I disagree that the game has to constantly be in change, essentially in a state of change. I disagree with that notion. I actually really like where Respawn is taking Apex Legends and the step-by-step process they have done so far, because I find enjoyment in the game as it is. You don't need to tweak it a whole lot. Please don't tweak it a whole lot. I don't want to, 6 months from now not like the game because it has changed tremendously. So, but that being said, is that there are ways of adding replay value, and that comes from doing things like weekly challenges. Now, I just wish that this, Legendary Hunt, for example, would have been more focused on Bloodhound. And maybe, there was a race skin that came out. And there's also the 301 skin. And it's cool that, basically for the most part, as long as you hit level 15 on the battle pass, you got the new Wraith skin, which is arguably one of the coolest race skins you can have. And I love the 301 skin because Skulltown. But I wish that you had to use your 301 in a certain manner. Get a certain number of kills, wins, something with the 301 in order to get the 301 skin. And I wish that in the Legendary Hunt for Bloodhound, the Bloodhound skin, I was hoping that it was going to be centralized around using Bloodhound. I think that not only should Apex Legends and Respawn Entertainment essentially incentivize you to play more, increase the replayability I should say, but they should also focus the replayability on certain characters, certain weapons, in order to unlock whatever within that gun or that champion. I think that that's a better way of doing it. But most importantly, they need to be weekly. They need to be within a 7-day time period, and then it needs to update, and it needs to be another 5 challenges. It would just be super, super cool if those challenges were more centralized around the use of a specific gun or a specific legend. I just think that would be super cool, and it would give people, like I said, more incentive to play that legend that they otherwise wouldn't. And I started out as a Bloodhound main. I stopped playing Bloodhound for Pathfinder, for the mobility. And I was actually hoping, hearing that they were going to launch the Legendary Hunt, I was really hoping that, this sounds like something for Bloodhound specifically, but it's not. And that's okay. He's still cool, but it didn't really give me any reason to play Bloodhound. I got the skin, played it like 2 games with the skin on. I'm like, ooh, this looks cool, especially with my gold RE45. But past that, I just haven't really felt the need to play Bloodhound. So I really hope that Respawn Entertainment can actually incentivize the use of specific guns and legends. Now moving on, I want to talk about the Elite Queue really quick as well. I love this idea. Again, this is coming back to the idea that you're going to increase replayability for players. It's going to draw in the mass of people that left. I mean, for a lot of people, I think they're still going to stay away from the game. I talk about this with several people I know that play the game, or they used to play the game, they stopped playing it, and they consider Apex Legends to be a dead or dying game. All right, cool, whatever, you don't have to play it. But I think adding the replayability is going to draw back up, a certain amount of people that left the game looking for that replay value, that they just didn't understand why they didn't have it, or like feel like they should replay Apex Legends. So this Elite Queue is an amazing concept leading up into the ranked system that they're going to be launching in Season 2. And I have to say that they really improved it vastly. Within a week, they updated the damage that the ring does. It's something like 15% on the first ring, 15% damage per tick. Okay? And it goes all the way to like 30 or 30-something%. I actually don't have the figures in front of me right now. But I think it's like 15% is what it starts out with. If I'm wrong, I'll make sure I put it down in the description what those numbers actually are. But yeah, they changed it within a week's time, because I remember thinking when it first launched, this is still a little bit too easy. it's a little bit too easy. You know, even if you get into the elite queue, it was too easy. Like, I'm gonna play how I play, maybe less aggressive, and I'm just gonna secure the final 5 and get that next re-invite, stay in the elite queue. Well, then they buffed the damage from the ring, and now it's utter chaos. I mean, I just playing recently today, noticed that when that storm, the first storm hits, I watched the teams go from 15 to 8. It's almost a 50% drop off. And it's not guaranteed that it was just from the storm, but it's all caused from it. All that movement. You know, maybe a couple teams got dapped, from another team, but I can guarantee you it was from the movement. It forces you in very quickly. You can't go back out for a loot box. You can't, if your teammate goes down in the storm, they're gone. There's absolutely no chance of going to even get the beacon. That's awesome. Amazing job Respawn on making a competitive game mode leading up to the ranked play. I'm super stoked that it's in there and that it's doing what it's doing. I've really noticed it slowed down the gameplay dramatically so, which is super cool because it's moving away slowly but surely from the hyper fast aggressive meta that it was for probably about a month and a half. It's slowly but surely, kind of started with the buffs to Gibraltar and to Caustic, and now getting even more news about Watson from E3. It's very clear where they want to take the game. They just want to slow it down a little bit. And when it comes down to the end game, specifically, even in normal now, because people want to get that invite to the elite queue, people aren't just running around, hyper aggressive at the end of the game, especially when there's 7-6 squads left. I noticed that at that point, it's the slowest point of the game. You got teams chilling, hiding out. So, and again, the addition of Watson being more of a strategic defensive player who is going to fit amazingly well in a squad with a Caustic or a Gibraltar and a Lifeline and whoever else, and probably Pathfinder. It doesn't even matter because the combinations are just infinite on what can be good. But the addition of Watson will slow down the game a little bit more because of her whole play style, and I really like that. Today I had a game that was about finished at like 22 minutes, which is pretty remarkable considering I never had a game go past about 18 minutes. And the final 3 squads that were left, it was intense fighting, but from good positions, a little bit longer ranged. They also buffed the DMRs, the sniper rifles, and so I can see in the future that being even a bigger game style or play style within the game is longer ranged weapons, because people aren't rushing. Even you aren't rushing as much. It's not to say that people aren't, because they do, and the fighting is just as intense as ever. But late game, it's less moving unless you have to. Once you're in the circle and that you got 3 to 5 squads left, it's more like lock it down, dial it in, check your 6, clear the rooms, room by room. It's a little bit more strategic. I really like where they're taking the game. It's a lot of fun. I'm super happy to see them listening to the community and doing what they're doing. I hope that they continue to do this and just maintain and improve the game that is already amazing. They have such an opportunity for increased replayability the longer the game goes on, because they can just keep adding champions into the game to change the meta. Whereas before, you'd have to change the meta through alterations on a gun, or removing and adding different guns, or perhaps items that you can use in the game. Apex Legends can just change the meta by adding 2 champions. That's really fucking cool. That means that the game itself is gonna be really healthy a year from now. I've played League of Legends. I'm a casual player on League of Legends, and it's one of the things that brings me back to League of Legends. You know, especially League of Legends when you're pushing over 100 different champions to pick from. And again, it just comes down to them adding one new champion and altering a couple of their champions to change the meta. So I think that Apex Legends is on par to do the exact same thing as League of Legends and Dota, and basically the MOBAs have done, where the game can change dramatically through the addition of a character. I think that's really cool. I think that's healthy. That's a really healthy game right there. So I'm just really stoked on the future. Just wanted to talk about some of the changes that have already happened and some of the changes that will happen. Again, just super stoked for Season 2 to see the map changes because of the Leviathan, the introduction of the L-Star. There's just so many things coming up within Apex Legends that's going to be super cool. So stay tuned. I have more videos planned to go into depth on certain other things, and hopefully I can find out more about who Rosie is. I didn't even really notice that name before when I read that post that Apex Legends had put on Instagram. But I'm super excited. Stay tuned because I will be making more content videos. And thank you so much for your support, and subscribe, like this video. I would really appreciate that. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.